My name's Mary Jones and I'm 44 and I live in Basildon in Essex. Well, I first found out about my superpowers when I was 4 and I just started going to nursery, and unfortunately I wasn't there a lot of the time, and the teacher rang up my parents because she was worried about where I was, and when they got there I was actually there. But you see, sometimes I become invisible, so it was quite funny actually how it started, but it's not always funny. My powers affect my everyday life in a lot of ways. I can't always control when I'm going to become invisible. This here is me when I'm 2.5. That's at home where I lived with my parents when I was a child. That's me standing in the hallway, you can see there. That's obviously me in my pram when I was a baby in the garden. That's me at Christmas with my mum. She does look like the Queen, but she's not the Queen. And that's me on a school photo. That's me there, look. See, just in the corner there, that's me. Sometimes it's a good thing that I can control it, because I can just come into a room where the children are and make sure they're not misbehaving. Or I can also stand behind my husband when he's on the computer to make sure he's not looking at anything he shouldn't be. It can be a bit confusing for people, you know, for example, when I go to the supermarket or when I go just for a walk and it looks as if my husband's talking to thin air. He has been arrested a few times because they thought he was drunk and disorderly or possibly insane. My main ambition when I was younger was actually to be a professional actress. And I did go for some auditions, but unfortunately, when the auditions were taking place, I would often disappear. So that meant that usually I didn't get the part because obviously they couldn't see me. That has been the saddest thing of my life, that I haven't been able to achieve that ambition, unfortunately, because of my power. As I've grown older, not that I'm old, I mean older than I was before, I am more able to control when I become invisible or when I'm visible. And I think that has been a good thing, you know, because when you're younger and you can't control it, it is quite embarrassing, particularly if you're, you know, trying to impress a nice young man and unfortunately you keep disappearing. It does tend to freak them out a bit. And, you know, a couple of relationships when I was in my late teens and early 20s didn't last because they, you know, they just couldn't cope with knowing if I was there or not. I was once engaged to a man who'd actually never seen me at all. But then when we got to the wedding, actually I became visible just at the moment when I removed my veil. But then he decided he didn't want to marry me after that. Because I wasn't able to become an actress, I eventually ended up being a nurse, and it wasn't the job I wanted. I do enjoy the work. Unfortunately, some of the elderly patients can become quite frightened. You know, if they're lying in bed and the curtain's open and somebody, you know, they can't see me, but a syringe comes towards them waving in the air. They get a bit frightened. And one, unfortunately, you know, elderly gentleman, one time he was very frightened and he ran all the way down the ward, burst through the fire escape, and unfortunately he did plunge 200 feet to his death, which was quite serious.